All right, let's talk about unlocking that secret level of your brain where you feel amazing and you perform even better. It's a state of total, absolute immersion, and it's called flow.
I want you to think about this for a second. Maybe you were deep into some code, or maybe you were painting, or just completely lost in a video game. You finally look up at the clock and, whoa, hours have just vanished. You didn't feel hungry, you didn't hear your phone buzz, you were just completely in a zone.
Well, that incredible feeling of effortless focus actually has a name. It's not just you. Psychologists had been studying it for decades, and it's called flow state. And honestly, understanding how this works can be a total game changer for you. So, what is actually going on inside our heads when we get into this state? Let's peel back the layers a little and look at the science behind being in the zone.
So, the guy who really put a name to this whole thing was a psychologist named Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, and his definition is just perfect. He called it an optimal state of consciousness, where we feel our best and perform our best. I mean, it's pretty much the peak of human experience, right?
Okay, so here's where it gets really cool. Neurologically, your brain literally changes. The part of your brain that handles all that self-criticism, that nagging inner voice, it actually starts to quiet down. The technical term is transient hypofrontality. And the result? All that self-doubt just melts away and your creativity goes through the roof. Okay, so the big question is, how do we actually get there on purpose? This is probably the most crucial part to understand. It all comes down to finding this really delicate balance between how challenging a task is and how skilled you are at it. Think of it like this, right? If you're really good at something, but the task itself is super easy, you just get bored. Your mind wanders. But on the flip side, if a task is way too hard and you just don't have the skills for it yet, well, you're thrown straight into anxiety and stress. We've all been in both of those places, right?
Slow happens in that perfect sweet spot right in the middle. Some people call it the flow channel. It's where the task is just hard enough to really stretch your abilities, but it doesn't totally overwhelm you. It demands every ounce of your attention, and that's exactly why it feels so amazing.
So, why should we care about this? Why does chasing this feeling even matter? Well, finding your flow isn't just about feeling good for a little while. The payoff is absolutely huge for your work, for your hobbies, for your well-being.
Look, if you need just one number to convince you that this is a big deal, here it is. A major study from McKinsey found that top executives were up to 500% more productive when they were in a state of flow. Yeah, you heard that right. Not 50%, 500%. That's like getting a whole week's worth of work done on a Monday.
So what you're really getting are two huge benefits wrapped in one. First, you get that almost unbelievable jump in productivity. But just as important, you get this really deep sense of happiness. The activity itself becomes its own reward. Researchers call this an autotelic experience, and it's a massive source of real, lasting life satisfaction.
Okay, I know what you're thinking. This all sounds fantastic, but how do I actually make it happen? Let's break it down into three simple, totally actionable things you can start doing right now to get more flow in your life. Number one, and seriously, this is non-negotiable. You have to eliminate distractions. Turn your phone off, put it in another room, close all those extra browser tabs. You have to create your own little bubble of focus. Second, pick something you actually care about. Flow loves passion. It's hard to get absorbed in something that feels pointless to you. And finally, number three, have a crystal clear goal. You need to know exactly what you're aiming for so your mind has something to log on to.
So you see, this incredible state isn't some kind of magic trick reserved for artists or athletes. It's a skill. It's something you can train, and it's built on that simple balance of challenge and skill. So the real question I want to leave you with is this. Where in your own life, at work, at home, in your hobbies, can you start creating the conditions to find your flow?